A very warm welcome back again to the balance of our pranayama, the next 3 breath series. And let me know how you went with those and if you felt a difference in your mind and emotions, being more calm, more peaceful. I always love to hear from our people. I hear from everybody that comes here, but it'd be really nice to hear from everyone else too. They're always amazed by the techniques and how well they work. So we're going to go into the next technique today. And it's one of my favorite breaths. It's called Brahmari breath, and that is humming bee. The children love this one. They really hum out loud. And it's not often that you do it in a yoga class because some people get very shy, other people start laughing, and but it's a very, very powerful practice because we are using 2 of the foods of the energy body. We're using prana through the breath, and secondly, vibration through the sound we're making. So it's a very big boost in this exercise. How it is performed is you would take your 2 index fingers. And if you just listen to what I'm saying, because every time I say this, everyone straight away puts their fingers on their ears and they can't hear what I'm saying. So if you take your 2 index fingers and you see these little flaps over here, we're going to place our fingers on those flaps and push the flaps towards the ear hole until we can't hear anymore. The arms are parallel to the ground. And you will feel it creates like a vacuum. You can't hear outer noise. It sounds like you're inward. And what you're going to do is, with the fingers on, you're going to inhale through the nostrils for as long as you can. And on the exhalation, you're going to make the sound of a humming bee. It sounds like this. And if you'll notice, it's not as a normal humming. You are pushing it through the nasal cavity. So it's you're making it very, very nasally so that there's vibration happening in the bones in your nose. That is part of the skull, which vibrates the skull, and you'll actually feel the vibration happening. And what happens there is when that vibrates, it sends stimulation to the pituitary and the pineal gland, and this pituitary gland then secretes from the stimulation its natural chemical, which is serotonin and dopamine, which is our happy chemicals. So the longer that we're doing it and the more that we're doing it, we're actually stimulating that gland and to produce the natural chemicals to bring us back into happiness and contentment. So again, if you just put your hands onto the ears, breathe in through the nostrils and exhale for as long as you can with the sound of the humming bee. Once you finish that, you inhale through the nostrils again, and again exhale with the sound of the humming bee. Remember that we bring our yogic breath into it at the same time. So when you're comfortable with practicing it, make sure 2 to 3 minutes in, as you breathe in, navel rises, ribcage expands, chest goes up, and so on, all the way back down again, and practice the 2 together. As I said, it's a wonderful exercise. It's giving you double the food for the energy body. So maybe find a quiet little place that you can sit and practice it on your own, and do it for 10 minutes a day, if not more, and just see the difference in your vibration. Remember, self-awareness. Come back, feel yourself, feel how you're feeling. Are you feeling a little bit more lifted? Are you feeling a little bit more calm or happier? And always come back to that. If somebody agitates you or anything like that, come back to the breath. The next one that we're going to look at is Ujjayi breath, and that is today called ocean breath because it sounds like the ocean. My enlightened super souls also love that one because they get to make the sound of the ocean, and I tell them to listen to the sound of the ocean while they're doing the breath. So maybe you can keep your awareness on that, the sound of the breath, listening to the sound of the ocean. The ocean sound is very healing. And the way that is performed is sitting into easy posture. And what you'll do is you'll bring your awareness into your throat. And you'll imagine that you're breathing in through the throat. While you're doing that, the glottis will block in half so that there is limited amount of air coming in to help you to have a more extended inward breath, okay? And what you'll do is breathe in for as long as you can like that. And as you breathe out, again, as though you're breathing out through the throat with the glottis blocked in half, it creates the sound of the ocean. So if I can just show you, demonstrate for you, I hope that you'll be able to hear on here. And again with this one, as you get into it, 2-3 minutes into it, bring in yogic breath. Now, I said that there were two techniques that you're using in all the exercises, and the second one would be Ujjayi. So when you're doing alternate nostril breathing, when you're doing Shitali breathing, when you're doing all of them, you'll be using yogic breath at the same time and then bringing in the Ujjayi breath. That gives you a lot to focus on, so the mind's not going anywhere too quickly. And yes, the Ujjayi breath, as I said, sounds like the sound of the ocean. Some people say it sounds like a baby snoring, whichever one works for you. And you sit and practice that for, again, up to 10 minutes. Ujjayi breath, as I said, the awareness is on the sound. Introverted people should not use this breath, okay, and that's for the pure reason that it's very tranquilizing. It can turn them more inward. Otherwise, everybody else is pretty good to use it. It soothes the nervous system and calms the mind. And it can also be used for insomnia just before sleep. So all these beautiful things that we're learning on how to work with ourselves, caringly and lovingly. And then the last one would be Samavrita breath, and some people know it as box breath, 4x4 breath, or square breath. And how that is performed is we inhale for the count of 4, we retain the breath for the count of 4, we exhale for the count of 4, and we retain the breath outward for the count of 4. Now remember, I said people with those conditions, high blood pressure, heart disease, pregnancy, all that kind of thing, are not going to be practicing because it's retention of breath again. You would just use simple yogic breath. And again, so it's in for the count of 4, hold the breath or retain the breath for the count of 4, exhale for the count of 4, and retain the breath outward for the count of 4. And so you'd continue for about 10 minutes again. Remember that on the retention side, it's not breathe in and hold it in. Don't hold tension. It's breathe in, retain. Breathe out, retain, not holding tension. And again, you may need to count a little bit faster in the beginning. If you find that on the holding out of the breath, it's too long and you start getting anxious, all you need to do is the minute you feel that feeling coming in, immediately breathe in. Even if you've held it out for the count of 2, with the practice, it's eventually going to happen. Remember, repetition is the language of the subconscious mind. So that is our breathing series, and there's a beautiful saying that was written by Krishnamacharya, and it is, inhale and God approaches you. Hold the inhalation and God remains with you. Exhale and you approach God. Hold the exhalation and surrender to God. And I think that's a really, really beautiful subject. Breath gives you life, so let's use it correctly. And the final breath technique that we're going to go into is called Bhastrika. Bhastrika is bellow breaths in English. There is a technique that a lot of people use called Kapalabhati, which is pretty similar to Bhastrika. With Kapalabhati, what you're doing is you're putting an expression onto the outward breath, and the inward breath is more gentle. So that would look like when we breathe in, the belly comes out. When we breathe out, the belly goes in. So it would look like this, and I'm going to do it slowly first, but with Kapalabhati, you work it up. It's pretty much like breath of fire in Kundalini Yoga. And then I'm going to take you into bellow breaths. Kapalabhati would be breathe in, the tummy comes out. On the outward breath, you're forcing or pushing, putting an expression on the outward breath. It's like a dog panting. And as I said, it's pretty much like breath of fire, and you can move it up with time. Bellow breaths, or Bhastrika, is where you're putting an expression on both the inward and the outward breath. Again, when you breathe in, the navel has to come out. When you breathe out, the navel goes in. And it's a kind of jerk, a pull. Please understand that this is a little bit more tricky to work with. So start off slowly, do it slowly, and gently with time, build it up. Everybody often does it the other way around. When they breathe in, the stomach goes in. When they breathe out, it comes out. So be very aware of the movements of your stomach. When you're breathing in, the belly comes out. When you're breathing out, the belly goes in. And the Bhastrika sounds like this. And as I say, you can take up the pace with time. Okay, and so go ahead with those, practice, play along, be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself. Remember, anything that you do is practice, and as you go along, you'll get to perfect it. Okay, and the contraindications for this one, bellow breaths, Bhastrika, is anybody that has epilepsy, stroke, heart conditions, blood pressure, all those kind of things, do not do bellow breaths. It's very, very energetic. It's very fast. So yeah, you'll be staying with the other breath techniques. And that is our series for this week. Next week, we'll be going into meditation, and then we'll go into the techniques to help us to get into meditation easier. And the first one of them will be Yoga Nidra. So have a beautiful week and see you soon.